Me Avery, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a nice full body yoga stretch with you. So join me in the beautiful city of Tulum, Mexico. I'm going to be doing a nice stretch. I got a little bit of a breeze, so it's the perfect weather to do this. So grab your yoga mat and let's get started. Let's start today's yoga class with a bit of meditation. Focusing on clearing your head, setting goals for today's yoga practice, and deep breathing. Inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, we'll start with the upper body. We'll begin today's class with the shoulders reaching up and around, stretching the side of your waist, and elongating your arms. And on the other side, a nice long stretch. You can repeat this a couple of times to make sure that your shoulders are nice and deeply stretched and your waist is relieved of any tension you might have. Now come back to center, and we're going to do a reach directly upwards, pointing up to the sky and looking behind you to stretch your upper back. I'll show you this pose on the other side. The focus here is not to bend your spine, but rather keep it nice and straight at the top and just curve slightly at the upper back. And now we'll focus on the lower spine by reaching down to the ground and pushing our head, looking behind us. Now let's do all of this again one more time, reaching up and around to the side, stretching the shoulders and waist. And on the left side, one more time. Now upwards, upper back stretch behind you, looking far back as much as you can. And now lower back, pointing to the ground and pressing into the ground, really opening up your chest. Now I like to roll my shoulders back a little bit and just loosen up. I tend to have tense shoulders, so I always recommend doing this exercise. And now we can focus on the neck by bringing your hands to bring your neck forward, and then to the right and left. Stretch out any sort of pain you might have. And now let's twist our spine, bringing your one hand over your thigh, the other behind your waist, looking behind you, keeping your back as straight as you can. And on the other side, hand over the thigh, the other behind the waist. Look behind you and really twist each vertebrae. And now we can find ourselves in child's pose before we do a bit more stretching of the spine. Now let's push into puppy pose, bringing your hips behind you, keeping your back nice and straight, a slight curve if you'd like. And now into cobra pose, chest to the floor, using your hands to push your chest upwards, looking behind you, letting your spine fully curve. Release down to the floor to adjust your position, bring your feet up, and now try to touch your feet to your head. This one's a little bit tough, but it really helps focus on the flexibility of your lower back. And now return to child's pose. Now we'll go into cat-cow pose. You want to have your hands, feet, and knees equal widths apart. Look up to the sky, bending your spine downwards, and then bend your spine up, looking down. A nice curve in each direction to really balance out each vertebrae. Down into the cat pose again, really arch your back. And now we're going to transition into a lower lunge. Sit however you would like, either on your ankle or off to the side, as long as your back can sit up nice and straight, and then reach down to the floor. Keep your spine nice and straight, and allow your hips to fully open up as your hips become more and more flexible in this position. Now push to an upper lunge. Reach your arm up and around over, grabbing your foot, for a nice stretch in your quads and hamstrings. Now release, push back onto your other foot, extending your front leg, stretching your hamstring as much as you can, and laying forward, touching your head to your leg. Now back into the lower lunge. We'll transition into the other side. Reaching over, grabbing your foot, extending your waist, and allowing the side of your body to stretch. And of course, on the other side. Repeating again, lower lunge on the opposite side now. Allowing yourself to lay forward, extending your spine straight, opening up your hips. And when you're ready, release so we can push into our upper lunge. Rest here for a moment to balance out each hip. Sitting up straight. And when you're ready, you can drop your knee into the lower crescent lunge, grabbing your foot behind you, twisting your spine, letting your hamstrings and quads nicely stretch. And drop down back to the lower lunge, where we can return to stretching our hamstrings, resting your hips behind you on your other side, head forward towards your leg, extending your hamstrings. And now you can go into a butterfly pose and just sit comfortably, wiggle your legs a little bit if you'd like to open up your hips. Now let's do a nice deep hip stretch, keeping your knees very wide apart, bending down forward, straightening your spine and reaching straight as much as you can. Now thread your arm through, other arm wrapping behind your waist to twist your spine while keeping your hips nice and wide open. And repeat this on the other side, threading your arm through, the other behind your waist. Resting here for a moment. Now you can recenter back into puppy pose, hips facing upwards, back nice and long, and we will push up slowly into a downward dog. Body shaped like a triangle, making sure that your spine is as straight as you can. It's okay if your knees have a little bit of a bend in them. The goal here is to have your spine be nice and straight. By bending your knees and re-straightening, you can actually extend the flexibility in your spine. So try this a few times to see if you can feel any sort of improvements. Try this on your tippy toes as well to see if it affects your flexibility. And now you can return back to a seated position, and we're going to slowly transition into our bridge pose. When you're ready, lay down on your back. Rest here for a moment. Take a second to breathe and just relax. And with your hips, you're going to press upwards, engaging your core. Raise up onto your tippy toes to see if you can get your spine more flexible, trying to grab your ankles with your hands. And if you'd like, you can extend your arms straight behind your back for a nice, comfortable bridge pose. This is going to focus on your balance and the flexibility in your back while engaging your core. Using your core, push up into a back bend, keeping your hips as high up as you can, looking behind you. Trying to arch your neck to look down at the floor as well. And lower down slowly, making sure you don't hurt yourself, back into bridge pose. And grab your knees, bring them to your chest to relax your back for a moment after that intense stretch. Now let's give the hips a little bit of a workout. Lower your legs, cross the other on top, pulling your thigh into your chest, and just relax here for a moment. And then switch sides when you're ready. A nice deep pull towards your chest. Extend both legs straight up to the sky, making sure your knees are nice and straight, and lower down when you're ready. As we come to the end of our yoga class today, I always like to finish up in child's pose. After doing a major spine stretch, it's really good to do something that bends your spine the opposite way. This is definitely the best pose that you can do after doing any sort of back bending and it's also really relaxing as well. And whenever you're done in child's pose, you can just return to butterfly position or cross your legs on top of the other and finish some final breathing with me. A nice deep inhale and exhale to conclude today's yoga practice.
I hope you're feeling just as relaxed as I am after that nice deep stretch we had together. I'd love to keep doing yoga with you, so make sure that you subscribe to my channel to see more videos just like this. And I'm going to take you along for all of my Tulum adventures.